Alright, what is good, ladies and gentlemen? We are back today. It is me, the Master Reviewer, and we are doing a review for James Bond Spectre. This is the fourth movie in the James Bond Daniel Craig franchise, and we are reviewing it today. This is a re-review. Not a re-review, this is, not a re-review, but this is a rewatch for me, this movie. I watched it along with the other James Bond movies back about 4 years ago, I think, something around that. So with that said, let's get into it, starting with the characters. So I would say that this movie, the characters they're not really great per se. Like all the recurring characters, like you have James Bond, Q, M, as in Mallory this time, not the previous M. All of them are fine. They're all good. Moneypenny, she's in this, so she's good. But all the new additions and stuff, like you have Mr. Hinks, played by Dave Bautista. In general, I'm not really a big Dave Bautista fan. I know a lot of people say, like, out of all the wrestlers turned actors, he's like the best one. I like John Cena more. That's just my opinion. Dave Bautista, I thought he was good as Drax in Guardians of the Galaxy and in the MCU. But other than that, I don't really think that, like, he's not really one of my favorite actors or anything. So in this, like, he doesn't really even talk in this. He says like one line in the entire movie. He says shit like right as he dies. Other than that, though, you have Christoph Waltz in this, who plays Blofeld, the main villain, who in general, I like Christoph Waltz. I thought he was good in Django Unchained. He was pretty good also in Inglourious Basterds. In this movie, he does play that character of like, in the previous movies, he did play like characters that are like very in control of situations and like very calm and collective. In this movie, he does play like that same kind of character archetype, I think is the word. So in terms of that, he does a good job. But in terms of his character, the character of Blofeld himself, he's really like not on the same level, in my opinion, as like Silva or Lashiev. Like he does tell James Bond like, oh, I've been in control of everything. So, but in general, like he's not really that. He's in in the James Bond movies, like you really only see most of the villains like halfway through the movie, except for like I guess Quantum of Solace, which is I guess something good that movie did, where you do get introduced early on to the villain. But in the rest of the movies, like you really only see in the last movie Silva, you only see him from when half the movie goes by, and then you finally get introduced to them. So also in this movie, you get introduced to him in his like the lair that he was at, and then you only see him in like one other scene, which is like you see him in that scene, you see him in the torture scene. And then you see him like at the end when he dies. So it's like you only really have like 3 scenes with him, to be honest. So he's not really like you don't really even see him for that much, and he's not intimidating like Silva was. He wasn't like he didn't feel as cunning as like the Schiff was. So in terms of a villain, I guess he was a bit better than Dominic Green, I guess, because like he was still like he did play like a mastermind and stuff to thwart James Bond. So in that sense, I guess he was good. But other than that, like he wasn't really anything. He wasn't really any better than any of the previous villains besides maybe Dominic Green. Daniel Craig, he still plays a good job as James Bond. He is still very Daniel Craig, he still embodies the role of James Bond very well. Anything else, Q, he's still good. He's still doing his thing. He is very interesting to watch on screen. Any of the tech stuff that he does, it's always good in my opinion. You have Max Denby in this movie, who's a new character, who is C, I'm pretty sure he plays. Yeah, so he's pretty forgettable. Like he's just the guy that's like he's basically just working for I don't know if he's working for, but he's working with at least Blofeld. So you know, he's like he just wants security, and not security, but like he wants to like breach the privacy of like everyone in the world and stuff. So he wants like mass surveillance and stuff, and to get rid of MI6 and the 007 program. You have Mr. White in this, who was I think in the first movie, and then you don't really see him after that. And in terms of a character, he is again pretty forgettable. Like in this movie, I guess he was good in this movie. I did like his like one scene that he was in. But other than that, you also got Madeline, who I guess like most of the female, not protagonists, but like all the, besides like Moneypenny, like all the love interests for James Bond, they're always like really forgettable. Like they show up in like one movie usually, and then they'll just die or something, or you'll never see them again. So yeah, I guess she was good. Like she was, I guess, a fine love interest for James Bond. So yeah, in terms of the characters, I'm gonna have to just give this a like a 5.5. I'd say they're decent, but nothing really better than that. So moving on to the plot. The plot was, I would say, like, not really. It was fine, I guess. It was like the plot was like really. Here's the thing: the movie is like called Spectre. You don't really see Spectre that much. You see them in like two scenes, which is like when James Bond is when he's like when he infiltrates the Spectre meeting, and then other than that, you see like when he first meets I guess face to face with Blofeld. So like those are the two scenes that you really see like the whole Spectre thing. And I really think if they went with something more like John Wick Parabellum, or like even here recently I just reviewed Bad Boys Ride or Die. Even in that movie, like you did have Mike Marcus and Armando. They went on like they were being hunted by like all of Miami. So if you went with something like that, where it's like James Bond is like really being pursued by like this organization that's all around him, I think that would have worked better. But you don't really have that. You just have like James Bond is like the one that's kind of going after Blofeld, and because of that, like Spectre, they didn't seem that intimidating or anything. They seemed more intimidating, to be honest, than the last movie where you had Silva. He was like actually like making attacks, doing threats and stuff. In this movie, like they talked about like, I don't know, pharmaceuticals, like in the start with like in the infiltration scene that James Bond did to their meeting. But other than that, yeah, the plot was just, I don't know, I would say 4.5. It was not really that good, in my opinion. So moving on to settings, the settings were actually pretty good, not bad in this one. You had like some more desert scenes, like similar to Quantum of Solace. You did have some nice snowy areas, which I thought were cool. The opening scene, I'll say this, the opening scene, probably I'll get more into it later on when I get to the best section, but the opening scene was great. I loved it. The whole like Mexico setting and the whole parade for the Day of the Dead, very cool. So in terms of settings, I would honestly give the settings, I'd say like 7 out of 10. They were pretty good. Nothing like amazing, but they worked pretty well in terms of like set pieces and stuff. In terms of the action, I will give it probably a 6.5. The action was good, I'd say. There were some good hand-to-hand combat fights with Mr. Hinks, Dave Bautista's character. You had the beginning with the helicopter fight. I thought was actually really cool. There was a lot of like aerial stuff, like a lot of planes in this movie and a lot of helicopters and yeah, stuff like that. And so all of that I thought was pretty good. Nothing too crazy or great, not like John Wick level at any point, but you know, the action that there was good in my opinion. In terms of the spy stuff, there was some infiltration and stuff. I would give the spy stuff like a 6 out of 10. It was like above average, I'd say. Like you had like you had James Bond doing his infiltration and stuff to the Spectre organization, and this one really had an emphasis on like what's the word, like the your privacy is being breached, like there's with the whole Nine Eyes like program. So you did have that kind of like, that did feel like very spy like, where you know, you're being watched at all times and stuff. But they don't utilize that enough. I feel like if they utilize that, where it's like you have like James Bond like constantly being tracked or something by Spectre, and Spectre like agents like everywhere, and like he doesn't know who to trust and stuff. I felt like that would have been better, but you know, they didn't really didn't do enough with that, I felt like. But anyway, moving on. Thriller, I wouldn't say here, there were some moments where it's like the torture scene that I was watching, I was like, okay, this is unnerving, this is like uncomfortable and stuff. And so in that sense, that for Thriller, it did a decent job as a thriller. What else you have? You have like the scene where towards the end where it's like Blofeld is, that's his name, yeah, Blofeld. He's like, okay, you have to choose between either you're gonna save yourself or save Madeline, and so he has 3 minutes to save her basically. So yeah, there are moments like that where it's like kind of tense. I will say for Thriller, I will put it in, I'll do 5.5. It was decent. It was nothing though like incredibly. There was no moment where I was like, oh, how's he gonna get out of this alive? In terms of the worst thing about this, it's probably just like I don't know, the worst thing, probably just like the fact that they didn't utilize Spectre enough. You have this like, it's the coolest name in the entire franchise in my opinion. Like out of all the names of the movie, Spectre, it sounds like really, really nice, really like, oh, intriguing and stuff. And then you have this organization that they build up as like, oh, all the previous villains were part of this organization. And it just feels like it's kind of underutilized. It's like not really something that really felt like a huge threat, to be honest. So because of that, I would have to say that I give the use of Spectre, it was pretty bad in my opinion, so 3.5. In terms of the best thing, I will say the opening scene I really liked. I did actually really enjoy the whole like Day of Dead, all the skeleton masks, all the costumes and stuff. It was really good, I thought, and yeah, everything with the explosion, the chopper and stuff. I will say it is like there was a whole explosion and then he walks like 1 block away and then the parade just continues. Like no one seemed to care that there was an explosion like right 1 block away. So also there were some good explosions. Here, I guess I'll say here, best thing, the beginning, which I will give a 7.5. I thought it was very good. In my extra notes, there was like good explosions. I would say this movie had some nice big explosion scenes, like toward after James Bond escapes from. I don't think it was when he escaped from the torture area. It was when he was maybe it was, but like it was when he left the area that he met Blofeld. Then the whole place exploded, which I thought was very cool. Other than that, I will say also like the way that Blofeld's defeated, like James Bond just shoots the helicopter down. It felt kind of anticlimactic, so that's another thing I didn't really appreciate about this movie. Anyway, I'm gonna try something cool. Watch this. I'm gonna do another magic trick. I'm gonna change it up a bit this time. King Crimson. So in total, yeah, the score ends up being a 5 points. It's like a 5.75 out of 10. I would probably, I don't go with like increments of 0.25. I just go with increments of 0.5s. So I'll just round it up to say, I'll just round it to like a 5.5 to a decent. I would probably give it like, honestly, yeah, probably like a 5.5 out of 10. I would say it's decent, but just because of like the actually, I'll give it like a 5.5 to a 6. It's between like decent and above average, but just because like the underutilization of Spectre and stuff and just like the potential that there was that just didn't feel utilized enough. It just, yeah, it doesn't make it, it doesn't really compare to like Casino Royale or Skyfall. I will say it was probably still better than Quantum of Solace, because at least there was still like this one has a lack of potential. Quantum of Solace just feels like, it felt like there wasn't even anything there. It was like, but anyway, this isn't to rip on Quantum of Solace. That's not what this video is for. So yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. If you have any recommendations, leave them in the comments. Any movies, shows, or anime, I will possibly check it out. And with that said, let's leave it at that.